What's good, YouTube? It's your main man, AB the Hero, back again with another video. Today's video, we're gonna talk about the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball, Mitch Kupchak, new coaches, all of that jazz. We're gonna dissect it all into the finest detail. Let's get into
Triple B's! AB the Hero, back at it, baby.
First things first, appreciate each and every one of y'all who slammed the like button before that intro was over. It's been a minute. It's been a minute, and I apologize. So I know a lot of y'all forgot the routine, forgot how we do things around here. So for each and one of y'all who stayed down, appreciate you. Today we're gonna get into this press conference media availability that Mitch Kupchak did a while back, where he addressed the firing of Borrego, young players, minutes, just he's setting expectations for this upcoming season. We're gonna get into all of that in today's video, and I'm letting you know we back like we never left. I got some interesting ideas for content coming up, so stick with your boy. Let's get into it. All right. Now here's Mitch. We're gonna play this video. I think this segment is about 34 minutes. We're not gonna watch the full 34 minutes. We're gonna watch some of it. If you want me to keep going, let me know in the comment section, and we'll come back for a part 2 if we need to. I will say this before we even get into this video. A lot of folks have different opinions about Mitch Kupchak. Some folks want him up out of there. Some folks like what he got going on, all of that jazz. For me, I will say this. The thing that I seem to appreciate the most about him is that in most of the instances in which he's talking about things, he feels like he's giving as much information as anybody could give. Right. I think that in today's world where folks are spinning and all of this stuff, he seemed like he's trying to be as straight up as possible, because he says things that obviously you got to know people are not going to like it. And he says it and keeps it real there. And you also hear him saying things that, you know, right, we do appreciate. All right, I like what you're saying there. So I appreciate that about him. So I don't mind watching this, because I feel like at least we're going to get some honesty from Mitch Kupchak in this segment. Let's get into it.
And appreciate you guys getting together a little bit later in the day. Our group is in Chicago right now for the combine pre-draft, which is a big part of our preparation for the workouts. We've had 9 interviews this morning, so I'm in our interview room here at the Marriott, and getting ready to walk over to the gym and watch the young kids play. So
I think even this, right? I'm gonna fast forward this because he ain't talking about nothing. But this is interesting because it takes me back to when we heard him in the past talk about the recruiting process of LaMelo and lack thereof, and we don't understand and we didn't know. We saw some things. We saw he could shoot, so we was like, yo, let's risk it all. And with the lack of preparation that they had and how that led itself into some of the hesitancy, it seemed like they had to play him during the season. So what I'm hoping is that we get some young guys drafted this year who they believe in a bit, and we actually see them play, as we didn't see with the young guys that they drafted the previous year.
It's an exciting time of year for us, and thank you for meeting just a little bit later in the afternoon.
Steve Reed.
Hey, Mitch. Hope all's well. Just wanted, we haven't spoken to you since you guys made a decision to fire James Borrego. So I was wondering if you could speak to why did you make that decision, and secondly, what are you looking for in a new head coach?
Okay, well, in short, the decision was made, to seek out, another voice. To be honest with you, Coach Borrego was great for 4 years, and the first year with us, we had a largely a veteran team. It was Miles Bridges' first year, and we had Kemba at that time, And everybody knows at the end of the year, Kemba left, and we decided to rebuild quickly or as quick as possible. So, and then the second year, was the beginning of the COVID, and then the third year we had 72 games, and then this year we had a full season. And coach did a great job of recovering from that first veteran season, and to be quite frank with you, rebuilt pretty quick. Getting great progress, in every year. So he did a great job, right? And I know it's tough to make these kinds of decisions, and a lot goes into it. We did wait, a week or so after the conclusion of the season before, I went down to Florida with Buzz and met with our owner. It's always a good idea to take some time and, make sure that, you think things through. So that was it, right? A week, 10 days, and we met. And I just felt at the end of the day, it was time to, I hate to use the expression going another direction, but really it was just time to go to another voice and look for another coach, to bring us hopefully the same kind of improvement that Coach Borrego did the first 3 years.
All right. So what I think is important that he's saying there is the thing that he started with and the thing that he ended with. We needed another voice. All right. And I think that the another voice thing is important because that is what I pointed out during the season that I felt like was an obvious issue, right? A lot of the drama, a lot of the stuff that they had going on in the locker room felt like it was due to the leader of that team, right? It felt like it was due to folks not really trying to hear that voice, right? When you watch that clip of James Bouknight on the coach, it felt like, I don't want to hear from you. Everybody else, Melo and them, like Colin Lale, come on, bro, it's cool. You hear a lot of the stuff that the folks on the team talked about in post game. We a brotherhood, we sticking together, such and such. So it shows that there's camaraderie amongst the team, but it's the voice at the top that they were not really meshing well with and they had to get away from. It's also important to note that that is something that's a big deal because you look at the consistent growth of this Hornets team and you see a team who was getting better season after season. Like, that's what you want, right? You want a team that's continuing to grow, get better and better. You seeing players like Miles Bridges take jumps, take leaps and get better and better. You miss a key piece like Gordon Hayward, the $30 million man, and you still find yourself in position to do big things. Obviously, you don't capitalize on those things, but you're in position to do them. And to me, that's all signs of success. That's all signs of trending in the right direction. However, when you're smart enough to realize that we might have hit the ceiling because folks are no longer listening to the voice, you got to make a change. Let's keep going.
And the second part of that question, what qualities are you looking for in your next head coach?
Well, right now,
I can already tell you, we need somebody a little bit younger. We need somebody a little bit more personable. need somebody that we believe can gel with this locker room, who these dudes listen to, like, and respect enough to grow with and heed some of that criticism, that constructive criticism that you need from a coach, to heed some of that advice. And when you need to pump the brakes, somebody who can pump the brakes on you and give you something and not make you feel like less than. That's what you need.
we're pretty far into the process. We've interviewed probably close to 8 to 10 candidates, and most of them have been in person. There has been maybe one Zoom interview, but most of them have been in person. And because of the playoffs and everybody involved, sometimes there's a lull in the playoffs, so it's dragged out a little bit. Certainly, you'd hope to have a coach in place by the draft. I would hope that it would be much sooner. I can't imagine it would be within the.
Rod Boone?
He didn't answer the question.
Just to go back to James Borrego for a second, you mentioned a couple times previously how the team kind of seemed a little bit ahead of schedule, I guess, in terms of results. What do you think changed from that time until when the season ended for you guys?
Well, Ron, I'm not going to, kind of nitpick through, the reasons, and a combination of things, right? Certainly, the way the season ended, right, and then us kind of going through that a year ago. And I don't want to point to that being the reason, because it's certainly not the reason. It's a combination of things. I don't want to list them.
That don't help. Getting blown out in the play-in game 2 years in a row versus teams that you probably could have knocked off, right? I mean, both of those games were on the road, but you could have stood a, you know what I mean, made it look like you'd belong to be there, right? The way that the Hornets performed in the play-in tournament made it seem like this play-in tournament thing is a bad idea. Like, what, we don't even need to do this because we see that these teams don't even belong here in the first place. That right there would leave a sour taste in a lot of folks' mouth.
If you ask me, I would say yes, that was a part of it, but I don't want to start listing all the reasons. It's just a feel. A general manager gets. I've been doing this a real long time, and you're not always right. And this was, particularly a hard decision to make. And although I've just, released coaches in the past, this was probably the toughest conversation I've ever had, and none of them ever go well. Okay, so I'm kind of open to a discussion, but I would limit, my input.
And then,
so like that, we did not get an answer from him there, but I appreciate the fact that he just kept it real and said, "I can't tell you."
You said earlier about where you guys are at right now with new head coach. What are you looking for in this new voice? And is there something you think that was missing that you think that you can find in people?
All right, Rob Boone with the journalism following back up as we saw Mitch avoided that question.
Looking at right now.
Yeah, somebody that will, bring us that next step, right? I think with this team, under Coach Borrego's, coaching, we made improvements every year. And I don't want us to get to the point where, we stick somewhere too long and we don't make that improvement that I think this team is ready to make. There are so many moving parts, right? Our scouts have done a great job drafting.
He looking for the Steve Kerr to Borrego's Mark Jackson.
And when you do a great job drafting, right, if you wait too long, all the players at some point, they come up for extensions or they're free agents, and you have to make decisions. The veterans you have on the team, they age another year or two with every year you wait. So, we didn't want to be in a position where we make a decision maybe a year too late. So we're looking for that coach that's going to get us that next step, right? I think the group did a great job. This year winning 43 games, was a big improvement under normal circumstances. With 43 wins, you probably end up with the 7th or the 8th seed.
Here's what I want to say is before I forget, because I know he's going to say something I need to react to again, is there is a lot of conversation that was happening during the season about the realities of LaMelo already being done with this team. Not as in this season I'm leaving, I'm requesting a trade, but already having the decision made that max extension or whatever it is, I am out the first chance that I get. And when he start talking about 1 to 2 years, players' contracts come up, we need to make a move now. To me, that's what he's talking about, right? Because what you could do with a Borrego is you say, we're going to give you one more shot. And next year could be more of this year. And then you make the move to get a new coach in LaMelo's final year underneath that rookie contract. And by then, it's too late. By then, you need a miracle season in order to get him to re-sign with this team. At least if you give him 2 years under a new coach, maybe you build some camaraderie in that locker room. Maybe you build some loyalty. Maybe you build some trust and respect. And then folks decide, you know what, I'm going to stay. We got something going here. I'm Giannis up in Milwaukee here. I ain't going nowhere. You can hear that. A lot of conversation this season about the potential of LaMelo trying to get out of Dodge. And what we see from right here, they're feeling it.
And going into the season, that was one of our goals, right? We thought that we were a playoff-worthy team. Now, we made the playoff with the play-in game, so that's technically right, not the playoffs, so I think we fell a little bit short. But next year,
Facts.
We want to make a similar improvement. Whether that means 3 wins or 5 wins or 7 wins. I don't know. We have a lot of work to do during the offseason. But we want to find that coach, and hopefully we find that coach that allows us, to make that kind of improvement.
If they can make another 10-win improvement, boy, that's a big.
And it
deal.
doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do it with new players on the team, although we're going to look at that, and we've got really good draft picks. It may be just our team getting a year older, our younger players, and for some reason that next coach can get us into that next step. So that's what we're looking for.
I think that this is a guy who, and that statement says a lot right there to me as well, right? It says that, because he's saying it's not necessarily about we need to reconstruct our locker room. We might just need a different leader in front of it. So that speaks to what they feel like the talent level is in that locker room. We saw where Miles Bridges is going. We think 1 year more and he's even better than he was last year. We see the trajectory that a LaMelo is on, and we think that we finna get trade times Luka performances out of him. So we might not need to shake the whole thing up. We might be able to keep that core and just as a third year have consistency, building on consistency, and take things to the next level. I say this all the time on this channel. I talk about one of my coaches. I actually made fun of him on this channel, and then there's a little clip that I posted on Instagram that was pretty funny and people enjoyed it. But he told me, because I transferred into college to play 3 years, and he said, yo, you got the perfect amount of time because that first season, you're going to just be figuring things out. You're just going to be reacting to stuff. You're not going to know what's going on much, but it's going to be the first time experience it. In that second season, it's going to be so nice because you're going to have a better understanding of what's happened, and you're going to have seen anything. So as soon as you see something, you're going to recognize what situation you're in, and you're already going to know how to respond. And he said in that third year, what is going to happen that's going to be so amazing is you're going to have experienced everything, and you're going to have seen everything. Okay, you've seen it, experienced it, and so now your understanding of what is about to happen is going to be on another level. So instead of you reacting to it, you don't have to do that. Instead of you seeing it and understanding it, you just going to know this is about to happen, and you're going to be able to put yourself in position to make a play that you wouldn't have been able to make in that first year. That's where the Hornets should be right now. 3 years of building on to what they started that rookie season with LaMelo. They should be at a place where they're going to touch the court and understand each other on a higher level. But they need a head man to really lead them and direct them in that higher level direction. Let's keep going. I think we're going to end this soon, and then we got to double back for part 2.
And the last thing, follow up on that, you mentioned that next step. You mentioned this all season for you guys. You have a lot of draft picks, obviously, different things you can do. How important is it for you to be able to maybe change the roster a little bit to take that next step you guys want to look to be able to do next season?
Well, the other thing we have to be careful about is, thinking that we're better than we really are.
Oh,
right?
Here go Mitch.
We're not a team that's going to get into the finals, right?
Here's that damn, I was talking to my fiance about this earlier, and that negative thought that some people have. This man just straight up said we're not getting into the finals.
Although Atlanta got into the conference finals a year ago,
even though Atlanta did it, and they probably shouldn't have been there. We saw Miami make it to the finals a couple years ago with a really, really, really young roster in Jimmy Butler, but he believes, you know what, this ain't gonna happen. We've seen Luka Doncic move some teams with his star power alone in some pretty terrible rosters, but he has already made up in his mind it's not gonna happen.
I don't know how realistic that is. What I'd like to do with this team, I'd like to get us into the playoffs.
If I'm Michael Jordan and I hear this, I'm pissed off. I'm taking that personally. Mitch, you said what?
And wouldn't it be great to win a round, right? And then anything after that.
Here's what I do think, right? And this is my speculation, and I'll probably wrap this up here shortly. I think that Michael Jordan must be the type of cat who is so high on himself that he is cool with you not being able to do what he did. He's cool with you not being successful, because if you're successful, then what who am I at that point? You know what I mean? I think that's how Mitch Kupchak get away with some of this mediocrity.
It would probably be gravy. So you got to be careful that you don't make moves, to try to mosey the progress along quicker than is realistic. And that might mean bringing in veterans, that really.
See, he already made a grave mistake in year 1 by not playing LaMelo earlier, because he was trying not to move the progress along because he didn't think it was realistic. And then he realized probably a month and a half after everybody else realized, bro, you're fumbling the bag right now.
You're not ready for it, right? We're still looking, in my opinion, to inject talent into this team.
Facts.
I think our scouts have done a great job with the draft, and we've got talent in the system. And I think everybody knows
Facts.
this year we have the 13th pick in the draft and the 15th pick in the draft, and we also have the 45th pick in the draft. So, we can do it again. And it's not to say that, we're going to use all those picks in the draft. It's good currency. You can use those picks to make a trade. And, our roster with our free agents, is starting to get a little cluttered too. So, there's a lot that goes into it.
That's the realness that I was talking about, right? For him to say, yo, we're getting a little cluttered, man. We got a lot of people playing the same position. We're probably going to make some moves.
But I think the key is, yes, we do want to make a step. I think making the playoffs, hopefully winning a round, is realistic. And
all right, I'm going to get off of here. Mitch Kupchak, a lot more to be listened to. I think we have to dive into it. We got to check it out. Shemaine Man, AB the Hero. We coming back with more.
The hero. No, not peace. +1, triple B's. We out.